Crawford. If you go down the list and ask me about tactical advantages, most of them are Crawford. What Canelo has is size, and as a result, physical strength and punching power.
And a neck as wide as Broadway, for crying out loud.
Right.
The thing that I don't like about Canelo is that it's like almost every shot has to be a power shot.
It's a power shot, yes.
They both hit hard. Because and you can see the strength. You know, when I was fighting against Crawford, I didn't think Crawford was that strong, but when he kind of moved me around a little bit, he is very strong as well. So look, yeah, but why does he need to give that much away? He's pound for pound #1 in the world. Why does he have to go for fighting Canelo?
Max Kellerman and Stephen A. Smith break down the highly anticipated showdown between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford. Stephen A. predicts a Crawford victory by decision, but urges caution. He recalls Gervonta Davis's warning that Crawford could be in danger if he exchanges too often. With Canelo's natural size and power advantage, Stephen A. insists Crawford must lean on defense, speed, and ring IQ rather than trading shots. Both analysts agree that strategy, not strength, will determine the outcome.
And a neck as wide as Broadway, for crying out loud.
Right.
The thing that I don't like about Canelo is that it's like almost every shot has to be a power shot.
It's a power shot, yes.
And that's not beating Crawford. I will confess, I think Gervonta Davis's trainer, Cal, I think he said this. He said Crawford could find himself in trouble, and I'm not sure it was him, but I think it was him. He said Crawford could find himself in trouble if he decides to engage with Canelo, because Canelo is the naturally bigger, strong fighter. And I don't care that Crawford's gotten bigger, and I don't care that Crawford's going to go in there just as big as Canelo. Canelo is accustomed to fighting at the weight.
Max Kellerman notes that Terence Crawford's sharper overall skill set gives him a technical edge. He highlights Canelo's granite chin and larger natural frame, built to absorb punishment in exchanges. However, Kellerman points out that Canelo's recent performances have shown signs of decline, with less dominance than in his prime. The fight, he says, comes down to Crawford's timing against Canelo's durability.
Great chin, a great chin. But in terms of, if you want to go skill for skill, especially the recent version of Canelo, who's had to turn into a seek and destroy guy, who had to learn as his career went on to cut off the ring and not just follow guys around. Like Lara, Trout, Floyd, he followed those guys around. He had trouble because he's really a natural counterpuncher who wants you to come to him. But in recent years at super middleweight, he's gotten really good at cutting off the ring. Again, last fight notwithstanding. So as an overall suite of skills, recent vintage, it's been Crawford. Mm-hmm. But Canelo also is skilled and has a larger skeleton than Crawford. No matter what they weigh, Canelo's the bigger guy.
Yeah. You briefly mentioned Canelo's power, so who I would assume Canelo has the
You'd have to think, unless Crawford, Crawford was on a knockout streak until he moved up to junior middleweight and then failed to stop Madrim.
Antonio Tarver, former champion and respected analyst, has voiced his support for Crawford while acknowledging the magnitude of the challenge. Tarver praises Crawford's ability to conquer divisions, but stresses this fight is on another level. He calls it Crawford's toughest test yet, while also noting that Canelo has never faced a fighter with Crawford's unique skill set.
I'm Bud County all the way, but this is going to be the toughest fight, the best fighter Bud has ever been in the ring with. And arguably, this could be the best fighter Canelo has ever been in the ring with. We'll find out which one is which on September 13th.
Antonio, I appreciate your time. Safe travels back home.
Man, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Antonio.
Timothy Bradley Jr., known for his sharp boxing IQ, believes the first round will be a cautious chess match. He predicts both fighters will avoid early risks, using the opening minutes to study timing, distance, and opportunities. Bradley notes Crawford's patience in big fights, preferring to analyze before setting traps, while Canelo also tends to feel out opponents before adjusting. For Bradley, round one will be about gathering information, not fireworks.
Crawford wants to feel his punching power as well. In the beginning, it's all the position balance. Like both guys are trying to get balance and trying to find their rhythm, you know, understanding their distance to where they can punch and at the same time avoid getting hit. You know, it takes Crawford a little bit more time than I would say Canelo to get right to it. Canelo, although I would say he is a prolific counterpuncher, fantastic counterpuncher, you know, he tends to find his spots a lot quicker. You know, and the indication of that is when, if you look at any of the boxers that Canelo has faced, Trout, even Danny Jacobs, even when he fought against Charlo, you just check out the first round. You know, he usually takes off, just feels the power, you know, cruises, you know, see what these guys know, couple of feints, level changes, you know, just gathering information, right? Crawford does the same and similar things. So I think the first round's gonna be a real like calm and cautious round by both fighters. But in the second round, Canelo's gonna start applying that pressure. Pre-engagement with Crawford is a little bit more difficult than a Charlo, okay? Now, let me explain this. So pre-engagement is the movements before you get into that sweet spot, which is mid-range, to be able to let your hands go, right? Both guys are trying to counter each other's movement. Both guys are looking at each other's, you know, hands, trying to anticipate what they believe is going to come next.
Amir Khan, having shared the ring with both men, offers a unique perspective. He praises Crawford as an all-time great at welterweight but warns that weight classes exist for a reason. Facing naturally bigger fighters like Canelo carries real danger. While Khan believes Crawford didn't need this fight to secure his legacy, he admires the ambition behind the decision. For Khan, it's a bold gamble, one that could cement Crawford as historic or place his career at serious risk.
You do all the build-up, they're nothing but respectful. I just feel that, you know, in boxing, weight divisions are made there they make him for a purpose, and I highly respect and say pound for pound the best fighter is Crawford by far and beats anyone. But when you start putting weight on and you go up a weight and you fight these guys like Canelo, even though Canelo might be now getting a little bit older and might be slowing down a little bit, but he's still going to be very dangerous. That punch power, you're still going to get tagged, you're still going to get hit. You're going to have to spar heavier guys to get ready for that anyway, so you're going to be taking a lot of wear and tear anyway. You're going to have to adding a few pounds on. Does he need to put that pressure on himself? He's done what no one's ever done before. 2-time undisputed world champion. So why not just enjoy? But obviously you want to go for that next challenge. Now for him, he wants to go for that Canelo. I would advise him not to go for that. But if he's the man and he knows how good he is himself. So I can't really say to him that do this or do that. So really,
he believes in his skills. He feels
he believes in his skill. We can't answer for him. We let him go and do it. You know what I'm saying? And we all might be wrong. He might be even stronger than Canelo. He might pack the weight on well, that he might do really well in there. So look,
you fought them both. Like, what are the differences between them? Obviously, it's weight.
Canelo's strong and is easily hit. Very easily hit, very easily. Yeah. Compared to when I fought against Crawford, I couldn't even hit clean. Yeah. So really, that's the difference. And they both hit hard. Because and you can see the strength. You know, when I was fighting against Crawford, I didn't think Crawford was that strong, but when he kind of moved me around a little bit, he is very strong as well. So look, yeah, but why does he need to give that much away? He's pound for pound #1 in the world. Why does he have to go up and fight Canelo?
Promoter Tom Loeffler views the fight through a business lens. He explains that Canelo and Crawford are two of the sport's biggest global stars, with fan bases spanning nations and demographics. He believes few modern fights match its magnitude, a clash not just of skill, but of empires. Canelo, the face of boxing, against Crawford, the pound-for-pound king. For Loeffler, the hype is justified, as fights of this caliber are increasingly rare.
Profile show, it's huge. It doesn't get any bigger than that. And you know, you got to give credit to both guys. They're both very confident. They both have very passionate fan bases. You know, Callum, you know, having fought in Dublin, packed the arena out there, the 3 Arena, having fought at Madison Square Garden 3 times, fought in Boston, and then Fernando Jr., you know, from one of the biggest boxing named families, you know, in the history of boxing. He's going to bring out a huge fan base. So it's a really exciting addition to, such a big show that it like I said, doesn't get any bigger than that for sure.
I agree. I think that you, along with me, have seen some of these criticisms of the undercard. But really, when you look at it, I mean, we both know Callum Walsh so well. The personality and the authenticity that he brings to the sport is just so sincere. He's so real. Being from Ireland, coming overseas to train and dedicate his life to this craft, and his personality is so magnetic that it obviously brought someone like Dana White to be a huge supporter.
Trainer Dave Coldwell highlights Crawford's versatile style, particularly his seamless stance switching and underrated footwork. Coldwell argues that Crawford's mobility and angles could frustrate Canelo's pressure and dictate the fight's rhythm. He believes Crawford's key is staying off the ropes and maintaining movement, giving him the tools to outmaneuver Canelo and win rounds.
From when the fight got made, I've always fancied Crawford. I just think it's different. I think there's something about him. I think if you add what Crawford's good at, he's brilliant. He can switch. He's very good as a southpaw. His judgment of distance is fantastic. His punch picking is fantastic. He's got good legs. When you add what, and he can pop. I mean, listen, I'm not saying he's got the power to hurt Canelo, but he might have the power to surprise Canelo a little bit and just sting him and just. But when you look at what Crawford does well, and then I look at this version of Canelo, as Canelo's got on, his punch rate's gone down. His feet have never been the fastest, but he's always had good placement of feet. His feet aren't the fastest, and he loads up. And he don't really like boxing at a pace. So I kind of look at that and I think Crawford can manage his way through the fight to win it on points. I think he can manage moments, tough moments. When Canelo detonates a big shot on him, he's going to know about it because Crawford's been hurt before. When Crawford gets hit, he does get hit. That's why he's exciting. But he does get hit. So that means that Canelo could land on him. I just think that Canelo will land a bomb and Crawford knows enough to tie up, to get off at an angle, to get that distance.
Jeff Mayweather focuses on weight as a decisive factor. He points out that Canelo has been dominant at super middleweight, a division perfectly suited for him. Crawford, however, is moving into unfamiliar territory, raising questions about whether the added pounds could slow his speed or drain his stamina. Mayweather stresses that Canelo's comfort at this weight gives him a natural advantage, as he won't need to make adjustments.
Big factor, and I mean, this is a weight class that Canelo is already, owns. He owns his weight class. So, I mean, and he even went up higher. So, I mean, he's already proven what he can do and what he can take at those other weight classes. So, I mean, I don't know, but if anyone can do it, it probably would be Terence Crawford. I mean, this guy seems like he's amazing. I mean, I'm a big fan of Terence Crawford, but I'm a big fan of Canelo as well. So I mean, it's one of those situations where somebody has to lose. So I don't know who's going to lose, but I think that it's going to be a great fight. I think it's going to be a great fight.
A Ring magazine analyst examines Canelo's recent struggles to cut off the ring. Once a master of trapping opponents, Alvarez has shown difficulty in cornering mobile fighters in his last few bouts. Against Crawford, whose movement and angles are essential weapons, this flaw could prove costly. The analyst believes Canelo must rediscover his ability to cut off space or risk being picked apart.
Have any position to critique and criticize Canelo, but one of the things that he's gotten in trouble with in the last couple of fights, not being able to cut off the ring. You go to the William Skull fight and you watched him chase William Skull around and around and around that ring. And yes, William Skull was running from him. That was pretty clear to see. He was on his bike utilizing his jab, but you didn't see Canelo cut him off. You didn't see him move laterally to be able to stop a lot of that running or stop a lot of that circling around the ropes, which is his responsibility if he's going to take the front foot and look to establish himself offensively. And when I watch Canelo here, he's gotten away with this pretty much his entire career, but I watch him cross-step a lot. And you see it right there, where he goes from circling, he rolls under the right hand, and instead of moving laterally, replacing his back foot with his front foot, he L-steps and then crosses over, which instead of just moving laterally and shifting, like I said, shuffling to his right off of the L-step, off of the reset, which would allow him to be ready to go and ready to fight again, it takes him that extra beat to get back into fight.
Former champion David Haye admits his outlook has changed. Initially, he felt Canelo's size and power would overwhelm Crawford. But after witnessing Crawford's intense preparation and technical precision, Haye now believes he has a real chance of victory. He confesses he couldn't see it at first, but Crawford's sharpness has altered his view.
Beating Canelo, I've been a fan of his for a long time, and likewise with Crawford. I never thought there was a version of reality where they'd both be in the ring with each other. I initially automatically assumed, because Canelo's obviously beaten, because he was the light heavyweight champion of the world, undisputed super middleweight champion of the world, he's just campaigned at a much bigger weight, so a good bigger can beat him with good little, usually. Until I saw them standing next to each other and they looked the same size, I couldn't quite figure it out. I was like, okay, if they're the same size, then it's literally pound for pound. Who's pound for pound better? And that's it, they're both pound for pound fighters. A lot of people have got them 1 and 2. And I favoured Canelo starting off, but over time, I'm starting to think, once again, Crawford is one of those guys where he reminds me of kind of Andre Ward a little bit, the mindset. And he wouldn't put himself in a position if he didn't know for sure he had enough firepower to deal with someone of Canelo's stature and Canelo's history. But it's the two best fighters on the planet, mixing it up. It's like it's one of those dream fights, the proper trade fight. You know, that anyone who's interested in boxing wants to see two living legends going at it. Yeah, I can't believe it's actually happening. Does that make sense? Because they're so big in their own right. The fact that that fight would never have happened 10 years ago, 15 years ago. It just wouldn't have happened. Now anything's possible in boxing. Anything's possible.
Jeff Horn, a former world champion, issues a warning to Canelo. He argues that size alone doesn't guarantee victory. Horn points out Crawford's defensive brilliance, his ability to anticipate, roll with punches, and avoid clean shots. If Canelo can't land flush, his size advantage may mean little. Horn stresses that Crawford's defensive discipline could frustrate Alvarez, limit exchanges, and create countering opportunities. Finally, a veteran fighter who has studied Crawford for years offers his verdict. He points to Crawford's growth, mental toughness, and consistency, insisting he cannot bet against him. In his eyes, Crawford already belongs among the sport's greatest. The fight with Canelo is simply another chance to prove it.
Me analyzing and watching Crawford over all these years, I just cannot bet against dude, bruh.
No, you can't.
I'm going to roll with Crawford, and shout out to Nebraska, and that's just what it is.
I'm so glad you here, big dog.
I'm going to go ahead and put my bread down on Crawford, and I'm going to live with the results.
You were a DB, right?
I played wide receiver, kick return, punt return.
Oh, I thought why did I think you was a DB?
No.
Even being a wide receiver, you fit the bill of a Terence Crawford. If Terence was a football player, he more than likely would be a DB or a wide receiver.
Yeah.
How much weight did you put on leaving high school going?
That's it for today's video. Stay tuned until next time.